Okay, we have got the banner, and the next thing what we want is some cards here, and those cards will be linking to a specific latest post of the blog. And for now, I'm just going to add around 4 cards, but that's going to be more like a lazy load. So if you keep scrolling, you'll be having multiple posts coming up. We can do that in WordPress, but for here, for our template, we're just going to create 8 cards. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is, after this banner, I'm going to create another comment. I'm going to call this as body content. Let's duplicate that. I'll say div dot section dot body content. I'm going to call this as home body content so that we can separate this when you're working on other pages. So inside this, we're going to say div dot container. Okay, we'll say div dot row, and here we'll add our cards. That's going to be div dot call lg3 dot call md3, and that's it. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to first duplicate this. I'm going to create 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I hope that's 8. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so here we are going to create the card. That's going to be div dot card, and here we'll say div dot card body, and we will add the title. That is, I'm going to add the h3 tag. Because call this as card title. I'm going to call this as blog post title. We'll add some text if you want, but I think I'm going to leave that. So instead, I'm going to add an anchor tag with a hash. Give a class called btn btnism, so btn primary. Okay, I'll call this as read more. Let's save this. Let's check that out how that looks. If I hit refresh, you can see that we have this card. We need to make this a little bit more smaller text, so we'll see how we can do that one too. Actually, I'm going to add some paragraphs here. So I'm going to call this as p.card text, and I'm going to add some lorem, and we don't need so much, we just need a little bit, so maybe this much. I'm going to get rid of all the other items which we have. Save that. Let's get back here. Let's hit refresh. Okay, that looks good. We need an image, so let's go to Unsplash, and we're going to look for random image. So basically, this is going to generate a random image every time we refresh. And also you can see that we can specify the size which we want. So I'm going to specify this as around, I need around 600 by 314. Okay, and I'm just going to copy this, and let's get to the code. And what we're going to do is, right after this card here, I'm going to add an img tag, paste it. Okay, and this is going to be responsive, so I'm going to give a class, call this as img fluid. Okay, save that. I'm going to call this as, okay, let's get to our code. Let's hit refresh. Okay, so we got our first blog post. Now I want this to be a bit smaller, so I'm going to call this as my card. Okay, let's copy this one, and here we'll say my card, and anything that comes inside the my card of h3, we're going to make the font size as 1.2 em. Let's see how big does that look. If I hit refresh, okay, I think that is fine. That looks pretty good, and we need some spacing now. Let's get back to our code. You can see that this is the main content, main folder which we have created. I'm going to give some spacing for that. So I'll call this over here. I'm going to say padding top is going to be around 50 pixels. Padding bottom is going to be around 50 pixels. Save that. Let's get back to the code, hit refresh. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I need around 4 cards, right? So we created 1, so we're just going to duplicate that. So I'm going to take this card over here, copy this, paste it over here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's hit refresh. Great, we have got our cards, but there are no much spacing available for this one. So I can create that MB3 over here, but I will have to add that manually to everything. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing over here. I'm just going to copy this, paste it over here. I'm going to call this as dot my card, which I have. And here I'm going to say the margin bottom can be around 25 pixels. Save that. Let's get back over here. Let's hit refresh. Okay, so that gives me some margin bottom spacing. Okay, so that actually looks pretty good. You can see that the navigation blur which we gave, the backdrop filter, that actually looks pretty good now. So when I take my scroll bar down, and you can see that it's kind of slightly gives like a glassy kind of look. So yes, that looks pretty good. And when I take my cursor, I want some kind of drop shadow to appear, showing me that I'm hovering on that specific post. So I'm going to take this my card, okay, and it's actually here. So I'm going to call this as dot my card. So when I hover this, I want the box shadow to appear. This box shadow, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, call this as 12 pixel, RGBA value, and I'm going to use this one. Let's get back to the browser. Let's hit refresh. So when I take my cursor, you can see that we have a shadow showing up. Okay, I need to make that a little bit slower. So what we can do is we can give some transition duration, and I call this as 0.4 as. I'm going to do the same thing for the other one that is over here on the hover part. Save that. Let's hit refresh again. Let's check that now. So when I take my cursor, you can see that we have kind of a premium card available now. Okay, that looks pretty good.